Children behave, that's what they say when we're together. And watch how you play. Don't understand, and so we're burning just as fast as we can. Holding on to one another's hand. All right, welcome to Kaneda's Saturday Morning Spectacular, the one pinball show that the Pinball Brothers don't want to listen to today. We're going to have a good time. How's everybody doing? Saturday, we have a big shout out to Bree, Brenda's cousin, who is out in the backyard with the children, so I could actually do this show this week. I will say this. I got zero sleep last night, so I'm a little tired. The kids moving around different beds. Cassian was fussy, couldn't get him down. And then eventually we all ended up in Killian's Paw Patrol bed with one on one side and one on the other. And me just like a sarcophagus, just like in a like I couldn't move. I was in a tomb of little child, like two little children. I didn't buy a pinball machine. Instead, I spent a week vacation. Charles, you're smart. Yeah, I think more and more people. I got some people texting me today. They're on vacation. They're doing other stuff with their money. They're realizing, maybe I'm good. What happens in a world where everyone just starts to feel like I'm kind of good with the games I got? The notion of buying all these games new in box, having to spend $300 on new power supplies, having half these boutique companies take forever to get you product. It's going to keep chipping away at people's enthusiasm. Good morning from the hospital bed. What? Ed, what are you doing in the hospital bed? Well, Ed, we hope you feel better. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. I'm glad we could entertain, or I could entertain you this morning. And Sad Boy pops in again with the damn moolah. Buddy, I love you. You've become a weekly staple here at the top of the leaderboard. Pinball Brothers said they only have 150 Predators left. They must be gaslighting us. No way they've sold that many. Well, Sad Boy, that's not a proper use of the word gaslighting. They are simply deceiving us. Gaslighting is when you slowly, to give you the origin, it's when husbands used to slowly lower the gaslight in their homes. And then all of a sudden, the wife wakes up one day and it's completely dark and she thinks it's always been that dark. It's the slowly manipulating of something to make people believe it's always been that way. So what's happening here? Damn, man. Ed, we hope you feel better. What's happening here is they're just flat out like they're not like lying. They're not telling the full story though. So again, I think it's calculated deception. They did not sell 650. What I heard is they sold around 100, maybe 150. I heard they're only going to make 300. Look, if they want to come out and say we've sold 650, okay, cool. Say it. They're not going to say it. Did they come out and say, hey, we were not allowed to release that video of Arnold? Nope, they didn't say that right away. I think in the end, hardly anybody ordered Predator. I don't even think they got 200 games sold at the prices, and now they're screwing over their U.S. dealers and distros. And even with the reduced price, it's now $12,000. Like, nobody's buying it, gang. You're not buying it. Who's buying an Arnold-less Predator? It's not happening. And, I think they're just trying to break even on the game now. And what they're trying to do is they need to sell the 300 games that they ordered 300 parts for. Make no mistake, gang. If they don't, this could be the end of the Pinball Brothers. And they, like when you read what they said, we're renegotiating the license. What does that mean? You thought you were going to sell 800 and you couldn't even sell 300. It was a terrible decision. made by a group of people that didn't do any market research, and the market bit them in the butt. Now, the tariffs didn't help out, but it wasn't about the tariffs. Gang, think about it. If Dutch Pinball revealed Back to the Future today with the tariffs and a $15,000 price tag, and it was loaded, they'd sell out everyone. It was just not the game people will buy without the assets. This offer expires end of this commercial vibe. Yeah, it's just so stupid. The fake FOMO doesn't work. It doesn't work. I've been pronouncing it wrong. It's Dubois. Dubois, Pennsylvania is now the new headquarters for Pinball Brothers in the United States. Yesterday's show, I hope you guys had a great time watching it. I hope you had a good time watching Kaneda do a show for roughly 30 minutes with no editing. I didn't edit that show. I put it right up. And it was a lot of fun to do it that way. When I can see myself and I'm just going, I just go. No notes, no anything else to talk about. Jason Knapp, rumoring. JJP's next game is Sonic the Hedgehog. We shall see if he's right in a year. Brian with $1. Thank you, buddy. But Steve Ritchie's game is a long way out. And so it's gonna be interesting. I've been waiting to see what I'm curious about is, and we'll get back to Predator in a little bit. I'm curious to see what the Harry Potter long-term feelings are with the game. And everybody loves the way it shoots. The code is, I haven't played the latest code update, but it's a success for Jersey Jack. I think it's going to be around the same volume of units as Guns N' Roses. I don't think it's going to outsell Guns N' Roses. And I think what's going to be interesting is, the CE price. Because I don't know. Guns N' Roses CE price didn't even hold. And there's only 500. I think Guns N' Roses years from now is going to be fine. I think the LEs will be worth $4,500. I mean this. I think years from now, GNR LEs $4,500 and GNR CEs will end up around $9,500, $10K. I think that's where it's going to be. Elton John is, here's the thing about Elton John, Charles. It's going to hold until Richie's next game comes out. Because right now, there's only one Steve Ritchie Jersey Jack game you can play. And it's Elton John. Elton John is holding, the CE is holding around 12. I mean, it's lost $3,000 in value. Patrick says, I was very interested in Predator, favorite theme for me, but without Arnold. It's just, there's no way you're selling it without Arnold. Good morning, Louie. Oh, man. We've only been here 9 minutes. I'm in the garage. It is a little humid out. Not going to lie. I am hot and I'm exhausted. And I say that because I have the two kids for an entire week. This is going to be the roughest 48 hours, which is the weekend in which right now Brenda's cousin is helping out for a little bit so I could do the show. And then I have them from like 11 to 8 at night. And then, I can't go out. I don't have a babysitter. And then I have them all day tomorrow, all day Monday. Well, they go to daycare, all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. And I've been doing it since Wednesday. So I'm Mr. Mom right now. Will Automated get a Predator? I don't know. I think they ordered a few, maybe 2 or something. I root for all games to be great, but Predator is a giant nothing burger. Zero hype from the community. Well, look, this is the thing is with Predator, they use Jengiz to launch it, which, I don't have a problem with that. It's just the way they slowly, they should have let people know right away there's no Arnold in it. They should have just done market research and asked people if they would buy a game without Arnold in it. And I think everything I said in my last show was accurate. I think they thought everybody was going to welcome it like Alien. I think they were going to try to get away with that. The problem is Alien without Sigourney Weaver. Remember how much it was? A little little trivia, because again, all these newbie content creators don't know any of this history. They just don't know why we react the way we react. Remember how much it was? No, it was less than that. I ordered an Alien LE right at the beginning. I know exactly how much it was. Any guesses? And it was refundable deposit, which actually is what bankrupted Andrew Highway. You guys are like, no, Wayne, it wasn't 8K, Wayne. The initial asking price for Highway Pinball's Alien was $6,500. It was $6,500. Yeah, of course. Dave Sanders knows because he worked on it. It was $6,500. I have the receipt. So you're telling me that you're going to try to sell a Predator for $15,500, $12,000 if they eat the tariffs? It's just not happening. It's not happening. My prediction is this game will be maybe the last game we see from Pinball Brothers. I'm not sure. I don't want any pinball company to go under, but I just think they took a huge gamble and it didn't pay off. It's not personal. They took a huge gamble and it didn't pay off. The game feels pretty middle of the road. And there's just no room for middle of the road when for less money I can go get a Evil Dead. I remember you being on board, but I said it. I always said it. With Alien, yeah, I was on board at the beginning. It's just, and I think too, like this concept of, well, if they only make 300, then the prices of Predator are going to go up. It's not going to be the case. Those days are over. Those days are over. Let's talk Star Wars. Let's talk Star Wars. So do you? I keep feeling. I think two things are going to happen. I think the new Star Wars game is going to have more mechanical wow than the Steve Ritchie game. I think the Steve Ritchie game is going to shoot better, but I think the new game is going to have better code, and better artwork. I worry that John Borg is going to make a mistake. I worry that he's going to make like a homage to his Data East Star Wars and make the next chapter in the same game, an evolution of what was out before. And I worry about that. I worry about it being more of a fan layout, more of mechs are in the same place as the old game. I worry about that. And look, Kelly, when you say Star Wars gets played a ton, why do you think that is? Because of the theme, Kelly. Again, and it shoots fast. To me, Star Wars is it's like John Wick with a better theme. That's it. It feels to me like John Wick with a better theme. When I go up to John Wick, the reason why I walk away from John Wick after 2 balls, I just don't care. I just don't care to do this. You know what I mean? It's like Labyrinth. I feel the same way when I walk up to a Labyrinth. I just kind of walk away right away because I'm just like, I just don't care to be in the Labyrinth world right now when I can look over and see the world of all these other worlds. Jurassic Park. I'd rather be there. I'd rather be Batman. I'd rather be this. I'd rather be Avengers. I'd rather be, Jaws. I'd rather be playing Godzilla. I don't want to be in the Labyrinth world. Out of all the worlds I could jump into in a world under glass, Labyrinth is not one. Same with John Wick. And that's it. And Star Wars is always a world I want to be in. I would have loved it if John Borg was able to release Indiana Jones because that was the game he really wanted. And something happened after the game was developed. Something happened with the license and they just couldn't release it. So, yeah. Got some exclusive news I'm going to release on my podcast this week. Stuff nobody's talking about. Gomez said business is good. 500 online working. More pins coming due. Costco. I heard Stern's on a 4-day work week. So I don't. How good is business if you're on a 4-day work week? How good is it? There's no way they're hiking pros to $8,500. There's no way. That's not happening. They're not hiking a pro up by $2,000, guys. Just let's. I mean, like, if they do, game over for Stern. People are just done. I don't know about you guys. I think people are I don't know. I think it's the boutique time now. I've been saying it for a while. I think Stern had an incredible run, and they're always gonna lead by volume. But the excitement, the FOMO, it's boutique, and Jersey Jack is boutique. You know what I'm saying? One game a year is boutique. So as big as Jersey Jack, they're still boutique. When you only make one game a year, you are a boutique, bespoke pinball manufacturer. If you make more than one game a year, I'll call you mass produced. Labyrinth turned out to be a great pin. Well, if you like Labyrinth, I just don't care about the theme at all, Robert. I don't care. I didn't when I was a kid, I didn't care. The only reason I watched it was to see Jennifer Connelly bouncing around, and you know what I was loving when I was a little boy. Data East Star Wars is 1992 great and well worth a 1992 price, but not today's. The next theme for Pinball Brothers is hey, question gang, is the new Multimorphic game, is the new Elemental, is that the same Elemental game that Pinball Adventures was making? Am I just making this stuff up? Like, did that game get ported over to Multimorphic? I'm confused by that. I thought Elemental was like the new game from Pinball Adventures. What's up? Anyone know? Or literally this, isn't it the same name as like the Pinball Adventures game, the second game? Elements is the pinball. So there's Elements and Elemental. Okay. You know, it's funny when Jerry does marketing, he's like the 26th game for Multimorphic. You notice that? He's like the 26th game for the Multimorphic platform. There's 26 games. Really? 26? I mean, wasn't Elemental a new Disney movie? All right, it's a different theme. All right. Yeah, did anyone get a Portal yet? Does anyone have Portal? Anyone? I feel like I haven't seen a Portal unboxing. I'm just curious. Like, is it ever gonna happen? Pinball Brothers making He-Man next without He-Man. Oh man. You know what license people are trying to get right now is I'm not gonna say it. It's a nostalgic theme, but I know there's a little tug of war going on for it. You know what, in the end, gang, here's how I feel about all of it. I don't care anymore about rumors. I have to be honest, I don't care anymore about rumors. Being first with a rumor anymore, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't matter. You know, Top Gun, Sonic, Super Mario, Pokemon, like who cares? Like, remember when the rumor mill was exciting? Remember when like being right about what was next was what drove? I don't think it drives like what makes the content interesting anymore. There's just too many. It's all the same. Like nobody's like leaking anything real. Like a real leak was when like we had the leak of the Deadpool playfield before it was out, or the Ghostbusters translate was circulating around. And nowadays, it's like everyone's just got the same 12 themes to be rumored, and then it takes forever for the games to come out. I think there's been no surprises. Like I was thinking about this morning. When was the last time we were surprised? Like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't, that, whoa, like, wow. When was I think about, like, when was the last time we were truly surprised by a pinball company move? No, we knew about Pulp Fiction. We knew Pulp Fiction was coming. That was not like we were like I think we may have been surprised that it was no LCD screen. You like how the Dune code is progressing. Oh, yeah. Well, keep I look forward to playing it one day when it's progressed. As I said, I'm not in on these long journeys to get my money's worth. Yeah, maybe like the Harry Potter, the way they announced Harry Potter was a bit of a surprise. I just think that when it comes to modern pinball marketing, this whole let's release a game that's basically a beta version of the game and make everybody wait is not the way to go. I just haven't seen. I think maybe Alice's Adventures in Wonderland coming back might have been like one of the biggest surprises. Raza's next. Raza's gonna have less units. It's been reworked. The ramp is even higher, easier to hit, and more rewarding. There was also like J-Pop left some magnets out of Raza when he did it at Deep Root that are going to be put back in. And I'll tell you this, like Raza is a much further coded game than Alice, but they're going to be I mean, it's kind of crazy. You're going to be able to get Raza next to I've seen pictures of Magic Girl in the new cabinet. It just doesn't look quite right. Magic Girl needs to be in that deep Zidware cabinet. Avengers from Stern was a surprise. I think. Look, I think one of the biggest surprises, gang, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think one of the biggest surprises was getting Roy Schneider. Schneider. Oh, I haven't slept. Getting all the assets into Jaws. I think the last big surprise that paid out in dividends was getting Roy into that game and having all of the Jaws assets. I think everybody thought they weren't going to get him. His estate was impossible. You were going to play as him, all this stuff. So I think getting all that in was a real surprise. And, we know it's Star Wars. Then it's Walking Dead. You know what I'm surprised by? The lack of people listing their old Walking Deads for sale. I mean, I guess what do you do, right? Unlike Star Wars, which is a whole new game, if you own the Richie Star Wars, you don't feel as compelled to dump it. But if you own an old Walking Dead, I mean, and as Gomez said, that game's going to have the updated cabinet lighting. Yeah. I do think Jaws is a little bit of an underwhelming shooter, though. I think it gets a little bit. I wish there was more mechanical wow in Jaws, a lot more. I think it's kind of empty, and I think Jaws is one of those games where the people that believe that shots are the new toys sort of defend it. But yeah, Derek, I mean, Jaws 50th, I keep telling people, I think Jaws 50th is going to be, in the end, I think they will end up making less than 1,000 of them. And I think Jaws 50th in the long term with a nicer play field is going to end up being the more rare version of the game to have. Spooky making 2 pins, 1 design actually work. What? Yeah, there's a lot of Star Wars 2017s for sale now because I think what people were hoping for was it would be episode 1, 2, 3, and I'm confirming for you. I literally have a text message from someone who worked at Stern during the development of it. It doesn't work there anymore, and he's like, it's the OG trilogy. So that's that. Like, that's as much confirmation as I need. And they said it in a way that was like, you're not going to believe it. Like, they were kind of saying it sarcastically, like Stern's cheap for going back to the same well, but it is what it is. Who's the designer from the new Star Wars is John Borg. I feel like Stern has greatly lowered their customer base with a constant price increase. Of course they have, Jason. you lure in less customers when you raise the prices. And look, they're about to raise the prices again. I think they've been nervous about this price increase for a while. I think they were considering it with King Kong. I think they were considering the bigger screen with King Kong. I think they made a smart decision to pause. I mean, Kong's not selling as it is. It would do even worse with the price increase. Kong is the new Avengers. It is. I actually think Avengers shoots more interesting than Kong. I think Kong is just not clicking with people. And what I love about Kong apologists is the people that bought it. You gotta. It's funny hearing them try to defend it and like, oh, it's so great. You know, like, no, we don't care. Kong is one of those games where I'm sure it's going to be fun. And it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun buying an LE. If it does turn out to be one of the best games Stern has made, it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun to own one at $8,500 for an LE. The reason why Kong will never truly excite, it goes beyond just the thank you for the stars, Bill Brandis. We're still doing this. Billy, I appreciate it. Thank you. The reason why Kong will also never hold any value is they made every version look the same, and that was like the dumbest move ever. And what I don't get about why they did it that way, what happened? Like what were they rushing the art package? I mean, Zombie Yeti did it. Like, is he on too much? Mr. Reason, no need to defend Kong. The code that just dropped is a huge indicator for where will it end up? Mr. Reason, where will Kong end up that's going to prove all of us wrong? Like what? We're all going to get goosebumps because we're watching some CGI animated King Kong throw around a subway car. I don't understand where the emotional energy is going to come from in that game. Thank you, Kelly. The last show was a lot of fun. Back to the Future, gang. I mean, you're going to be waiting to the end of the year. You have to remember, Dutch Pinball is a company that's made one game in 12 years. They did not develop Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Melvin did that in 1 year. My worry about Barry is Barry being Barry. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's slow. He's slow. They're not quick. Like, look how slow. I mean, Melvin handed him a game that was ready to be made, and look how slow it's been getting the game on the line for Alice. They don't have a. I just want to say this too. They don't have. This is information as recent as today. They have not replaced the vendor for the topper yet. So I know Melissa said, "Oh yeah, the new game shit." No. Melissa's getting some games that have the original topper, but they don't have a replacement vendor lined up. I think the old vendor might still be making some too. He's just closing up shop. Jason said, I need to add, I don't feel like all of their price increases were material based. No, Jason, none of them were material based. I think they adjusted their prices because they saw the secondhand market that was happening during COVID. This is not like Stern did not like juice its bomb up 40% while at the same time raising the price by 40%. Please do get to the chopper. All right. And then the chopper, Dubois, Pennsylvania. They're out of business. Pinball Brothers, I think, are going to go out. I think they're going to go out fighting. They're going to go out paying for tariffs to save the crew, but they're not. I don't think they survive this. I don't hope they go out of business, but I don't think they survive this. I think they took a huge gamble and it didn't pay off. I don't think it works. You know, I would love Jengiz's point of view on this. You know, maybe he pops in here today. Retro Ralph ain't gonna pop in here. I think my indictment of the arcade one-up content creators might have stung too deep. I was pretty mean. I will be honest, I was mean. I think anyone who started an arcade channel because they wanted to review arcade one-ups, think about that. What? And like talk about an item that like fizzled out real quick. I mean, those guys like they like they thought they were like in the cool kid club for a while because I mean everyone just started and then when people amassed these collections, they looked at their game room and realized they made a terrible mistake. They made a terrible mistake because collecting arcade one-ups is the equivalent of collecting fake Rolexes. These are fake versions of something everybody knows and loves. It's fake. It's fake. It's garbage. You can't play Street Fighter on an arcade one-up. And then the saddest part is when these dudes were adding those like bases to them, to like make them higher so they could play as an adult. I get that if your kid wants to play the games you grew up with, cool, but don't start a whole community around it as a grown adult. Like, no, like if kids were the ones driving the arcade one-up content, I'd be like, that makes sense. But for these grown men to be like, that's what they were all about, like, and you got to remember, gang, like Stern Pinball went and got these guys to then go make pinball content. Like they weren't gonna do it unless Stern recognized, well, we've got these guys with tens of thousands of followers, and they're not covering pinball, but they're gamers. Because if you got to think about it like this, who's the most susceptible? Susceptible, right? Susceptible. Who's the most vulnerable, right? To bending their mind to becoming a sales shill for you if you're Stern. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what community of grown men could we like take over and get them to create advertisements for us? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think arcade one-up guys are where we should go because these dudes think everything is awesome if they're shilling that, And like, I would never. What's up, Kill? Oh, Kill's in here. Hold on. Kill, come on. Go back in with Bree. Kill.
I want to pretend to drive this.
All right. He's pretending to drive this. But look, it's funny too because it's not just that they entered into the pinball space. It's not that they entered into the pinball space. It's that they tried to sell us on a narrative that they've always been into pinball. Do you notice that? Like Ben, was it Kong guy did it? Ralph did it. Like they tried to sell us on this. Like we've always been into pinball. Like, so what happened? You just decided now is the time because you got invites to the manufacturers. Your first invite was all expense paid trip. And then they hooked you so much that now you're paying for your own travel to go to these companies to make sales content for them. Kaneda won't do that. Kaneda got flown out to see Avatar, and I said I wouldn't buy it. Guess what? Still friends with all the people at JJP. Kill, come on. Go. Bree's going to be a little nervous where you are. Does she know you're in here? Brenda's cousin's watching him. Yeah, one did get out, Bill. Absolutely. And that's it. One-up collectors. The thing about pinball, what I always wished? That, I think sometimes people question me as a gamer. Now, you can absolutely question my pinball skills. I'm like an average pinball player. I mean that. Like, I'm average. Like, my weakness in pinball is that I don't like to nudge or like throw a machine around. It's just something about it makes me feel, but it's like, it's important, and I know like hitting the lockdown bar and nudging that way is important. And I sometimes just tend to watch a ball go into the out lane without much movement of the machine. I think the best games are the ones that like don't have cheap drains. Some games just really cheap drains and you're always nudging. Like I think GNR is a lot of cheap drains. I think the game's a drain monster. But I will say this: if you're a real gamer, and I mean this, who grew up in the 80s and 90s, you're good at Street Fighter. And you probably chose Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. So, I would love to play all those guys in Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition or Turbo, and we should play for like whoever wins, the other person has to like shut their show down for a month, because I'll clean the floor with all of them in Street Fighter. I will use Guile, and I will never jump with him. They will never get a round off of me, right? And that's how I grew up, right? And that's what arcade culture was. Daytona USA, same thing. I know how to drive that game like no tomorrow. Now look, hold on, Killian, come on, Killian. Daddy's doing a show. You're not supposed to be in here. Come on. Where's Bree? Here, come on. We're gonna get lunch later. Oh, you buckled yourself in? Okay, why? Come on.
I needed to be safe.
Just say hi real quick. Say hi.
Hi, baby.
Say, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Say,
Oh yeah. Let me down.
Okay. You gotta let Daddy record the show, okay? All right. So sorry. That's all right. Do you know what I'm teaching him? Brenda's away, so like my goal was, I don't know if you've seen the Seth Rogen show, The Studio. It's absolutely amazing. So I want to just teach him to say, oh yeah, like the Kool-Aid man, so that when Brenda comes back, like I've trained him to always make his affirmative response to be, oh yeah, cool. I want to ruin it for you, but go watch The Studio. I think it's one of the best comedies I've seen in many, many years. It is so funny, and the cast is amazing. The writing is amazing. It is some of the best comedy on TV. Oh yeah. It's not Macho Man, oh yeah, though. It's Kool-Aid guy. No, E-Honda, Kale. E-Honda cannot go near Guile in Turbo. E-Honda maybe in the one where you could torpedo through the sonic boom, but see, real Street Fighter guys know this, and Kale will know this, that in Street Fighter 2, before Champion Edition, do you remember what the game was like? You could not select the same character as your opponent. And so Street Fighter 2 like changed everything, right? But if someone picked Guile, you couldn't pick Guile. And that's what made Champion Edition so epic, was you could go player versus player for the first time. Now, what everybody knows about the original Street Fighter 2 is this. In the end, the only two characters that really could survive a good competition was Guile versus Dalsim. Guile versus Dalsim was always the matchup. Those two guys could easily beat Ryu, Ken. Like you couldn't get past like Dalsim's long kicks. Because remember, in the original Street Fighter 2, you couldn't block when you jumped in the air. Okay. And that was a huge issue for characters that had projectiles and long legs, because what always happened is only when you jumped into Guile, you could charge that sonic boom, that sonic kick, the flash kick, and he would just get you. So it was always like a stalemate between Dalsim and Guile, and if memory serves me correct, it would usually end up in a timeout, and that's why Champion Edition like solved that problem. Oh man, Blanc. Okay, how's everybody doing? Do you remember how the original Street Fighter had giant? Oh yeah. The big buttons like this, boom, boom, and that's when you had like, I mean, the first Street Fighter. Do you guys know the story of this? Like, the first Street Fighter. There's a really interesting history about Capcom versus SNK, and how, I believe the guy that was involved in Street Fighter 1 went over to SNK to like kickstart their fighting genre. And the whole thing was like, what was revolutionary about Street Fighter is it gave a backstory and storylines to these characters. And so that was like never heard of before. And so SNK then came out with, I want to say, Fatal Fury. That was like the first SNK Neo Geo fighting game that went all in on like the storyline. But then when Street Fighter 2 came out, it was just Capcom just had the better the better controls, the better gameplay, if you will. Much like pinball, it's like the better gameplay, the more you're going to win. It's more fun. I was never a Mortal Kombat guy because I just couldn't get into using the block button as a as something. The game I was great at, the fighting games I mastered was X-Men. When the X-Men game first came out, and Cyclock, I could kill anybody with her. And that's the one where like Akuma was hidden inside the game. And then Killer Instinct, I was amazing with Orchid. Like I knew all of Orchid's moves, all the crazy killer combos, everything. I don't remember them now, but it was so when Killer Instinct came out, that was like badass. Anyway, no, Tekken, not so much. Like Virtual Fighter, not so much. I mean, I love that the guy's name was Akira. Kale, what's up? Kale, let me ask you a question. Kale, how have your conversations to create a detente between Kaneda's Pinball Podcast and Retro Ralph, how have they gone? Because I know you're in communication with Ralph, and we're checking in weekly. We care about him. We want to make sure he comes back to the NWO and is having fun with us at Expo. So how have your conversations gone, Kel? Have you been successful in breaking through the hard exterior of this grown man who's into gaming just like the rest of us? Is he still like, did you see Colin now is saying like for peace of mind? Colin's saying he put the story about me behind the paywall because he wanted to make sure only people with intent read it because he didn't want to get into the same stress levels of Ralph. Like he saw what Kaneda did to Ralph and he wanted to avoid that. So he put his story behind a paywall. Does that make any sense? Who needs a paywall? I'm a jackass. I take the piss out of things. I'm sarcastic. I'm Sicilian. I'll make fun of you. Make fun of me. Like it doesn't have to be so serious. If I say I'm going to out you for getting paid in a pinball machine, so what? Let me out you. Who cares? You deserve, and I keep saying you deserve to make money. You deserve to get paid for making content. I never said it was a bad thing. It's just funny to me. It's like they're still holding on. When Kale and I roll through Expo, we're going to be like Hall and Nash, baby. It's going to be like the NWO, the bad boys of pinball. We're rolling through there. Rachel can be like Miss Elizabeth. We've got Melvin Williams from DPX. We're all going to be wearing like feather boas. I got my houndstooth Gucci coat on. I'm going to be looking at Bill Brandis being like, this dude makes more in one day than I make all month. I'm dressed like I got more money than Bill, but I don't. I'm just pretending. You know how it is. I'm pretending. It's fun. I know exactly what I'm worth. I know exactly what I make. I know exactly how much money I have. Now, I can afford all these clothes. This isn't like I have no debt other than like a little mortgage I got to, but I have more money and assets than my debts. And I also don't carry credit card debt. So I pay my credit card off right away. I don't like float it over. I don't pay interest on stuff. I'm not like that. I just want the points because I want to go to Japan. I will not be wearing socks to Expo. I never wear socks, guys. Like I don't even own socks. Like I don't even know what that means. Like whenever I wear a tuxedo, I never wear socks. You don't wear socks with velvet slippers that say "screw you" on them from Stubbs and whatever. Oh God, reminds me when Dawn dressed up. No. Well, look. I wouldn't dress up like Wonka. I don't understand that. Like, I don't. It's weird to like turn your thing over into like a salesy like to help like selling these companies products. Like there's got to be a little bit of having some like pride in your own content that you're not going to turn your channel over. I think I just saw like Ralph is like, he's like promoting Harry Potter donuts. It's like it's come to this. It's come to this. Like, so every time there's a Harry Potter anything, we're gonna be like, "Here you go, enjoy your pinball with your Harry Potter." I don't know, like maybe, sure, why? I wouldn't do it. No, I don't wear socks to the gym. I don't wear socks with sneakers. I don't wear socks. That's the Italian way. Italians don't wear socks, guys. When you're telling me when you wear, I get you can wear like those low cut socks you don't see. I don't wear them. I don't know. My feet don't really stink. Who knows? Who knew that, right? Oh man. All right. So like, let's see. Let's go back to some of these pinball topics. For those of you who joined late, we already debunked it. There's no way that Pinball Brothers sold 650 Predators. We all know that. They probably sold 100 to 150. That's why there's 150 left, because they're only going to make 300. And yeah, I wear a pair of socks in my underwear. Yeah, I hope so. Taking parents to Tokyo next spring and jumping a boat to see the rest of that. Yeah. So Bill, Bill, we should maybe coordinate, because I'm going next year too for my my 50th birthday. So maybe we could sync up. No better trip than that. I always tell people, like, instead of buying a $15,000 pinball machine, if you've never been to Tokyo, go when you're young. Bill, my parents won't even go to Mohegan Suns, which is like an hour from them. They're not going to Tokyo. My dad said he will never get on a plane for the rest of his life. He got on a plane his whole life traveling. He's like, I'm never doing it again. He won't do it. My mom won't even. Like, they're going to Mohegan Suns next week, and it was like pulling teeth to get them there. They like being sort of in their town. They're very stationary. And I'm not going to force them. They're never going to go to Japan. Never. My dad used to go for work. Oh, how's everybody doing? But go. I think it'd be wise if everybody took money you were going to spend on a pinball machine and did an adventure that got you out of your comfort zone. Because if you think about all of us, you could take the money and go buy another thing of something you've already got too many of to begin with, or you could actually take the money and go have a life-altering experience. When we're dead forever. You guys know this concept, right? When we're dead forever. Nobody on your deathbed, even as you get older and you can't travel as much, nobody's going to be like, I wish I bought more pinball when I was in my 40s and 50s. I wish I really, I'm glad I used all those hours to uncover the new D&D code instead of like hanging out with friends and family and making new connections. You're not gonna. I'm going to say this is a little bit controversial. I think spending too many hours playing pinball is kind of not a great use of time. I just don't. I don't think pinball was ever designed to be something that should be 30-minute games, 40-minute games. I don't think pinball was designed to be something that takes like a year to beat. I don't think that's what it's about. I don't. I think modern pinball's turned into that. And I think for some people, like, you kind of need that sort of like length to games to justify the extreme cost of the machines. But I don't know. I think it's become a little bit more like a role-playing game and less like a pinball machine. The pinball treadmill. My brother-in-law in hospital, 62 years old, terminal 4. Yeah. See, Wayne, yeah, of course, Bill, I don't think your parents are not flying first class. Go Air Japan, though, if you're going to go to Japan. The first class in Air Japan is insane. Some length. Anyway, what do you guys want to talk about? We have 799 stars. Sad Boy's been the only one hitting up. I don't know where Pete Rosen's at. I'm a little tired, as you guys can tell. I've been I didn't get any sleep last night because of the two boys. Berto, I love that. Sell 2 pins, restore an old 5.0 Mustang with your boys. That's living, man. I'm working on this new campaign for Corona, and it's all about like what is living? Is living really you know, staying up late at night, having 15 pinball machines and staring down at a box of lights that you already have like 8 other games, 9 other games. Um, I believe in balance, and I think most of you understand that. I'm not here to you know this. Like, you don't need another game. On a beautiful sunny day, like, the last thing you should be doing is inside, like, exploring that new D&D code and the new trinkets that give you a little bit more money to buy. Who cares about any of this, right? It's funny to me. It's funny to me. I think pinball, I think we're at a pinball crossroads. I do. I think certain games are gonna really connect with us and click emotionally, and I think the rest of them are gonna be discarded. I still think we're gonna see some of the best pinball we've ever seen in the next 3 years, and I also think we're gonna see more pinball companies close in the next 3 years than we've seen in the last 10 years, and it's pretty clear who's moving in the right direction and who's not. Kaneda, what older pin under 5K would you recommend? It's a good question. Under 5K. Um, you know, it's hard now because, like, I feel like everybody. There's two things. What do you define by older? And it's like nobody wants to list anything for below 5K now. I think there's lots of Stern pros that are 5K or less that I would really consider. They're not older though. If you want to go Bally Williams, people are saying T2, Getaway 2. Yeah, the problem is with some of those older games is I wouldn't want to own them, and I don't think you'd want to own them. I do think the sweet spot would be, something like a Star Trek Pro, the Steve Ritchie game, or like an AC/DC Pro. I think that would be like a good game to have. Wasn't there a Walking Dead Pro? I think that Black Knight. Yeah, I just think like you want something. You can almost get a GNR LE for 5,000. Corvette is one of the most underrated pins ever. I love games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, even Baywatch, Last Action Hero. Some of those games are just dumb fun, Dirty Harry. Like, they're just dumb fun games. Dracula. Yeah, can you get a Dracula, Bill? I don't know if you can get a Dracula for 5,000 though. That's the thing. It's 5,000's like let's look right now. Let me go on Pinside right now and type in. Let's type in Dracula in the marketplace. See what comes up. I have a hard time. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Oh yeah, you can. Let's see. 39.90, 4,000. Yeah. All right. Yeah, right at it. Right. Bill's right. Right on top of it. So yeah, I think that's a great game to get. I think that game is one of the most magical moments in the history of pinball. Doctor Who is fun. Well, my advice would be go play all these games. Go play these games and buy the one that speaks to you. It's really hard, right? Because there's nothing universal anymore in pinball. There's no like, oh yeah. I mean, some people love Addams Family, some people hate it. Some people love Medieval Madness, some people think it gets old quickly. Speaking of, does anyone have a line of sight into where the new Medieval Madness games are? Anybody? I don't even. We don't even hear from CGC. Does anyone have a line of sight into where Turner Pinball's been? Where's Chris Turner? All these guys with their August shipments. I don't feel like games are going out. We're gonna do this show to about 11, gang, because two things. I'm tired and I got to take care of the kids. But I'm glad we got to do this. I really think we're about 2 weeks away from Star Wars. I don't think we're gonna see it next week. I think Stern's gonna hold it to early September. I think just August with everybody traveling and vacations. it's not the smartest time to release Star Wars, but there's, you know how I feel. There's never a bad time to release a great game, and there's never a good time to release a bad game. Any word on what's in the new Star? So I heard the new Star Wars is sort of designed as a follow-up to the Data East game. It's sort of like a tribute to that game, and where the big R2D2 is going to be a big AT-AT walker. So that's what I heard is in this game. So you know you're going to look down and see Star Wars. So I don't know. I think Borg might have just taken his old design and just modernized it. He could have completely changed it, gang. I haven't seen it. So like everything I'm saying is just kind of what I'm hearing through the rumor mill. But I am hearing that where R2 was is a big AT-AT walker. Yeah, gang, the spooky game is sold out. I got my order in. I got an order in for a Star Wars LE. What was the Haggis rumor you posted that Keith Elwin was going to Haggis? So I was making fun of the rumor that Keith Elwin is going to Jersey Jack. Here, I'm going to speak broadly and lightly about this, but I heard the rumor is that working at Stern has become a bit of a grind, and it's become a little bit of a toxic work environment. And so who knows where Keith Elwin might go if he's tired of it. If Keith Elwin went to Jersey Jack, that would absolutely be devastating to Stern. I think Stern knows that. I think they would throw anything they could at him. The problem is they could never throw as much as Leonard could. I mean, Leonard could buy Stern tomorrow and he wouldn't really feel it. I know how much Stern was asking for sale. I know what the number was. It's not as much as you think, considering, you know, what are the annual revenue on Stern? This is not profit, but just revenue somewhere in in the height, I think it was in the vicinity of like 50 to 60 million a year was revenue. That's not operating costs. It's not profit. That's like what they were generating. And I think Jersey Jack is not, I don't think the Abbas family is interested in buying Stern. I think they're interested in just, beating Stern. And I think that's the way it's going to go. Well, Tom Capera going over there was big. I do get a sense that the Jersey Jack culture is not nearly as stressful. Did you talk about the new P3 Elemental? Chad, I did not, because if I start talking about P3 games, I fear my audience would exit immediately. What's this again? What's going on? Elemental 08? You, Ralph and Don, I don't know what this guy's talking about. I think that I think Jack Danger needed a break. I don't know the details. I just imagine that working at Stern is very stressful. I imagine that you get too close to the sun and it just doesn't become nearly as much fun as you think. And it does become a job, and you are like destroying your family life to get a game to market on time or ahead of time like Jack had to. And it's not worth it. Like, you love your wife, you love your kids, you're not making millions, and these men who are pushing you to hit these deadlines, probably, and a lot of times are like unfair deadlines. Like they've already made their money. It's probably pretty tough. I can't imagine they've sold 100 portals. They're very expensive. I don't know how many. I think Jerry was telling people there's like 750 multimorphics out there in the world. I don't know. I don't believe that, but I also can't like contest it. I don't know. It doesn't feel like 800 people every time there's a new multimorphic game or unboxing the games. It just doesn't feel like that. Unless they've got some like hidden Scientology bought like 700 of them. Like, I don't know, like, who's like where all these owners are. I also just like it's hard for me. I always feel this way. Like Jerry could have just had like one of the best pinball companies in the world by now, and he created a solution in search of a problem. And everybody knows that. He's a nice guy. He's got good tech. He's smart. He just needed a creative director that had more common sense, and that's that. It was his decision. He's comfortable with it. He sleeps at night. He wanted his company to be that. It's not how I would have done a pinball company. And in the end of the day, Spooky is going to make millions more. And Jerry's never going to get to that tipping point where he's got the only way Jerry's model works is if the platform itself is a loss leader. So he needs to sell the platform for $3,000 and then charge you $3,000 per game. But you can't sell the platform for $12,000 to $15,000. That doesn't work. Are people really not sure that it's Beetlejuice? I mean, we've been saying Beetlejuice now every day for like a year and a half. It's either Beetlejuice or Gremlins or Goonies or Motorhead. No, it's Beetlejuice. Big Trouble in Little China is currently on YouTube Premium. What the hell? Anyway, Carrie, what's up, buddy? Carrie, Carrie and I are probably feeling the same thing a little bit. The news is lacking. Our subscribers have gone down a little bit. There's just oversaturation. There's not enough to talk about, and like, I just feel like the rumor business is now like it's not even where it's at. It's about how well can you entertain, how well can you talk in real time about what's going on in the community. That's why like Kaneda's Pinball Podcast has always been. I love doing the show every week because because imagine if all you want to talk about is gameplay or like tournaments or like it's boring. Like what I want to talk about is like what's happening in the community. Like this week in the community was the Pinball Brothers trying to create FOMO around Predator, right? That was a really interesting marketing move. We saw right through it, led to one of my most entertaining shows ever yesterday. If you haven't heard it, it's free. You can watch it on Facebook Live or you could listen to it on Patreon. You don't even need a login. You don't need an account. You can just go to Kaneda Pinball Podcast and it'll pop up for free. Oh, Albert, man. Albert, at the end of it all, no regrets, like not asking for a buck here or there. I mean, I don't make a lot of money, but time value of money. So it's more, something's better than nothing. I think we've kind of like, I don't think a lot more people are going to be coming into pinball though. And like, let me explain. Like, I don't think like Harry Potter is going to bring in 1,000 more potential pinball buyers in. I don't think Pokemon's going to do it. I don't. I think we're very lucky that we're in this like little bubble of like the economy's still doing pretty well, right? S&P highest it's ever been. Like none of that recession hit. Like none of the. But if it does get bad economically, that's what will create a really rough go. And oh, I love it. Look, 500, and you can put stuff on my face. I would walk around like this all day long. I'd be like, I'm not buying Predator as a pink dog. A Frenchie. I think someone turned me into Bill Brandis' French Bulldog. Show you what we're doing to bring more pinball to go live. Show you what we're doing to bring Jason. Let me see if I can invite you onto the show. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, all right. I think I might be adding you, Jason. Let's see if it works. You want to know what's going to grow pinball? Electric Bed Arcade is, yeah, no, arcades are going to be what grow pinball. It's how it should be. Where these games were meant to be on location. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to grow pinball. Like, it's kind of creepy when you're like, you want to come over to my basement and see my pinball machine? Like, even grown adults are creeped out when I tell them I have a pinball machine. You want to come over and play? They're like, But if I'm like, you want to come over and have a vodka soda? Yeah. You want to come over and like, you know, barbecue? Yeah. You want to come over and play pinball? We're busy actually. Yeah, the price increase. Charlie, I don't know where you've been. Jack Danger's on Pokemon. I don't know, Charlie. Where aren't I feel like Charlie Martin is in this community, like here every week, asking questions like, hey guys, who's making Star Wars? Hey guys, when does Spooky normally reveal their new game? Like, come on, Charlie. Jason, I did. It's not working. Everybody, look, have a great Saturday. I know this is a little bit of like low energy. I didn't sleep at all. I'm exhausted. I've got another 4 days in daddy daycare here. Wish me luck. Just got to get these kids to dinner and then put them down, and then I got a chilled bottle of sake. I'm gonna order some sushi, and I'm gonna put on some Japanese TV, and I'm just gonna be in heaven. Now I just got to get to like 8 o'clock at night for that. So wish me luck. Wayne, thank you for the stars. Sad boy, thank you again for your donations on YouTube. You guys are a little lacking on these super chats, I gotta say, but I'm not busking today. I'm too tired to busk. All right, Wayne, I appreciate it. Guys, be good. It's Brenda's birthday yesterday. No, it's Brenda's birthday yesterday. Yeah, jeez. Nobody hit Brenda with the big birthday dinner. I need Kim Mitchell to come back to Brenda. He loves Brenda, by the way. It's amazing. It's adorable. He's like, my wife's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She's so amazing. The ladies here wanting. I know, Jason. Like, tell him I said hi. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out for the next week. Be good. I'm sweating in this garage. It's so humid today. It's disgusting. I can't wait to just go inside and play Donkey Kong Bonanza. Everybody, we'll chat soon. Kaneda out. Oh, let me see here. Let me see. Hold on, Jason. We'll see if Jason can say hi now. I'm trying to add him again. I don't know. I don't know if it'll work. Let's see. It might be like, what's up? Oh, it's like, it's trying to see my mouth because Ted just gave me some 500 stars. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. It's not working. It's not working. We're going to finish this. And now we're going to go to YouTube and finish.